Hey, it's me, Sarah. Welcome back to Soul Creative. I'm here to share a journal with you guys. This one is using Artymaze's Winter's Tale. I'll put a link down below where you can get it. I absolutely love this kit. Now, I might want to pull this towards me, and the way I have my camera set up, I'm not used to, so I apologize. So, anyway, I made a pocket out of this fabric. I learned how to make this pocket from Wendy's journal adventure. She did it a couple years ago during, I think, her December daily deal, but I'm not 100% positive. So I layered a piece up with some cheesecloth and some burlap, this Tim Holtz frame. I put a Winter's Tale right there. I made a couple tags back here, just added a paper ruffle to that one, added half of a cutout that I did with this punch, and then this little cute little guy right there with some seam binding and some eyelash trim. And it just gets stuffed in this pocket here. And then this is magnetic, and then inside I just have one of these. It says say yes to new adventures. You could either glue it shut, make it a pocket, or just keep it flipped up, flipped down. You can make it a matchbook. You would cover that part right there though until you opened it up. And you can make like a little notepad out of it. And then the covers, I just put some ridges on the sides here. And yeah. So you just push it down. I have a Tim Holtz hitch post fastener. And then inside, I put one of these definitions. It was part of a card. Or, no, I think these were the cut-aparts. And then I just used one of the journaling cards right here. I just layered up a bunch of different things, sewed it together. I used all my scraps. I used sewing paper and cardstock and this packing paper. I used a couple sheets of that, and I don't have very much left over. I have a couple pieces of seam binding. I basically used everything that I could use in this journal, and I found by doing that, it was so nice to not have a bunch of things left over in the end. And then I made these, if I didn't glue it in there, just it flips up, flips down. I just corner punched the edges, and then it says enjoy today, and that's Tim Holtz stamp, one of his what do they call it, I'm not sure what they call it offhand. If it comes to my head, I'll let you know. I absolutely love owls, so I wanted to focus on the owls, and then it said create your own magic, and it's exactly what we need to start doing, is creating our own magic. So I did use beeswax on these papers. I followed a tutorial from Firefly Studio, or I think it's Firefly 67. I think I'm saying her name wrong. I'll put a link down below. And then I used these papers, and I had little scraps left over. I sewed these pieces that I had left over from the cover, and then I had scraps left over from the pockets that I made, and I had these little chip wood pieces, and then these snowflake charms, and I just tied them all on there. I sewed where these charms had a little string. This right here I just did where you could flip it open and put a little secret hiding spot right there. Just add interest to the page. Just made some tabs and hung some charms. Did some stenciling. This right here I have a tutorial when I did my December daily, and this just shows pocket, and then I used one of the coin envelopes. Here's a blank one. They're just, you know, the coin envelopes that you would get from like a bank. And I opened it up. I did some tea-dyed paper in here, and then this was a scrap piece of paper that I was using to these are hole reinforcers, and I was inking those up. So when I was done inking them up, I just used that scrap piece of paper, added some interest. I glued down some book page and journaling spots right here. You can put whatever you want right there, a date, a memory, you know. And then I just did some stenciling. I did leave some white spots because it is a winter's journal, and white has a lot to do with winter. I put this paper clip on here. What this is I got an idea from, I think her name's Shabby Soul, Suzy, and she does have a YouTube channel, I'm pretty sure now. But she did little journal covers doing a technique using sewing pattern paper, and instead of making the journal covers, I made a pocket, and then I did the sewing paper. I used some vellum, and then in between the layers I put some die cuts. So, and then I just sewed it. And then another one of those. Anywhere there was a hole on these papers, I just tied some little textiles and strings and stuff on. Winter. It's a fairly plain journal with a lot of details when I come to them. There's more wax on this page. This is one of those cards I made with Tim Holtz stamp, and then I just put this behind it, can journal or add it to another page. More wax, just sewed on. This pocket, this was a greeting card that we got, and I just loved it, so I cut it out and then I stitched around it. Well, I don't know what happened there. Oh, there we go. I glued this on, that's what happened. So this is just one of the journaling cards from the kit, and it's a little bunny rabbit, so I wanted him peeking out of there. And then these are just scraps I had left over from the front covers, and I just sewed them all together, and I put a charm on it, so then it just hangs out. And I did put hole reinforcers on it. And that was the hole that was left over from the paper. So this, I just opened it up, made a little journaling spot right there, and then I hung the same snowflakes right there. And then this flips open, and you can journal on here. This was a page that I had in 2 signatures that didn't fit in this journal. This journal has 10 signatures, and I couldn't fit the other 2 in there. It was getting a little too bulky, and it just seemed like it was going to work out better doing 10. So the leftover signatures, I did have a couple that had really pretty edging on it, and I just took those pages, ripped them in half, and then used them in the journal here. This right here, it'll flip down. There's a pocket behind it, or it'll flip up and flip down. And then there's a pocket behind here, and then there's a pocket right here. Just book pages and little journaling spots. And then here is, this comes with the Artymaze kit, and these are tickets, and I just inked them all up, kept them together, and I figured you could journal underneath there, and then you could, you know, if you want to put a little secret message there, or, you know, whatever. This is a lace piece. I'm not positive whose it is, but if I know or find out, I will link it below. And then this just opens up, and I have a pocket right there. Made a little, whoops. I have a pocket right here, and then I have a little notepad, and then these are actually sticky notes, and I was working on a different project, and I wanted to see if I could still turn using an eyelet, and that's what I had left over, so I just put it in here. And then this little clip is holding it shut. And then this is just holding it onto the page. Or holding this shut, I mean. Okay. Hopefully I'm making sense here. Did some more waxing. It's the first time I did the waxing. I might have went a little overboard on it. Hung an eyelet right, or hung a charm from the eyelet in the corner there. This little tuck spot right there. Another tab. Some trim. This right here comes with the kit, and I opened it up. I left it open. Made a little notepad right here. This is out of that painter's paper. And then made a little tuck spot right there. And then you can journal still inside of it. And journal on the outside. And then in here I got, you stay in front. I got a tag from the kit. Just inked it up. I put a tab on there. These are from the same kit. Have a wooden die cut, and I punched a hole through it, put an eyelet, attached it to the fabric pocket here, and then it just hangs there with this charm. It says snow. More trim. These have quotes on them. They're really pretty. They're really awesome quotes. This here, I just had some packing paper, and I sewed it together, and then I put washi tape on this side, and then on this side I just made a little pocket out of it. But it was just packing paper that I got in a package, and I just inked it up a little bit, and I had some tape, washi tape, and sewed it, and now it looks really cute. More of the wax. These come with the kit. I just glued them together to make a little tab at the top here. Hung a charm from that tab. These are Tracie Fox. I'm not sure from what kit. And then here is a... Okay, so one of these... Okay, this is magnetic. I used one of these envelopes that you get from... Well, last year at Target, they were given these, or had these planning envelopes for like seed packets. And this is the gray one that had the window. I just cut it out so you could see the window. I had that cute little squirrely. And then I added a doily right here. You could journal over top of that. This has a little notepad throughout. And then this was a piece of scrap paper that I had left over from the 12 by 12. So I attached the envelope. And then on the other side, I just attached some more of that shipping paper, sewed around it, added a charm with an eyelet. And then inside here is just paper where you can journal inside of it. And I actually used one of these papers for the inside paper. And then it just gets hung over that paper. Love that. I just love owls. I think they're so pretty. I did the same thing here with this little pocket. It's sewing paper, and then I backed it on to, or it's just a bunch of sewing paper, and then to make it a tuck spot, I used, I don't have any, I don't think. Oh, this is like a heavyweight cardstock. It's like 110. Might even be like 90 or 80. I don't know. It's a heavyweight cardstock. I got it at Michael's. And then I just sewed that on the back just to reinforce it. And I had bits of paper that I sewed on. And then I ended up cutting it off because I didn't like it on something. And I had these scraps left over, so I just added those in with the mix. And those are Tim Holtz flowers. Another fabric that I sewed onto it. Just another cluster. This just flips out. And then have a charm hanging from there. This goes on the other side. Just a scrap piece of paper I had. Added this definition and a little tag. And then just put a little cluster at the top. That was on a different tag, and I didn't want that particular image, so I just put it there. This is a security envelope. I added some washi tape. I made this little tuck spot out of scraps. Added a piece of paper. Added some paper in the window, and then you can use the window. I sewed it together inside, and then I used a little tuck spot and added some washi. Add some washi right here. But that's the security envelope, and I think it looks cute. Kind of remind me of snowflakes. This is just the tuck spots. Added a cluster right there. And then this just goes over top of the paper using a little Tim Holtz paper clip. You could take it off. And there's a little tuck spot right there. That is part of the other paper that I showed you back there that was smaller. I just cut this off the end of it because I wanted to put on that page, and it didn't have, I couldn't put the whole piece, so I ended up, that's what I did with that piece done. I'm telling you, I used every little scrap that I could use in this journal, and it worked out great. Like, and then you don't get overwhelmed with everything that you have. You pick and choose what you want. At least that's what I do. Did a little cluster right here, and then you put it in a basket, and then you try to stick to what's in your basket. And that's what I did outside of like the paper and that. Once I got the paper picked out, that's what I tried to stick to, is using the paper. This is another one of those little cards. You could glue it somewhere else in here or leave it in this pocket, and then this flips open, kind of just holds it shut, and then that's a little pocket left over from the pockets that I did on the front covers. Here is just a leftover piece of the kit, and I glued it on there, and then I used washi tape on the edges. Here's another tag that I made out of the leftover pieces of paper I had. Another tag, just sewed a little piece of burlap on there, or trim. These are from the kit. You can sew them into the kit. I just left them on the page. You can journal on them, put them in a pocket. You could glue them on. I just left them for you to do whatever you want to do with. I just put them on there for decoration. Here is, I took one of the envelopes from the kit and I glued it on this way. I added this little squirrel, couple little tags, couple more tags, and when I put these on here, I had this like this, and then it kind of looks creepy with that owl looking at my little chip, my little squirrely, but the wonder of winter. And then you flip it over. Here is the actual envelope. And then it has the top, but I'm gonna lose my paper clip there. And then when you open it up, I used a die cut right here, and then I used this little image, and this was a piece of scrap cardstock, craft cardstock I had, so I made the extra. The part that I used for the flap, I glued for a pocket over on the other page. So I made that pocket, and then this is the actual little journaling card that's inside. A little fox is eyeing up a little bunny. And that just clips on like that. More clusters. It's just what I had left over. I made a little pocket there, and I put an eyelet up here with a charm, and then I just stapled some sari silk on there. A couple more charms right here. And that's hanging from like one of those keychain things. It's on the tab. I just punched a hole through that tab. Tab's pretty strong. I don't think it's gonna rip off of there. Here I took a This is a tag from the kit. I made one of these I haven't actually flipped it down, but you flip it down and flip it up, and then this part right here, I flip this up and you can still put a little secret whatever underneath there if you wanted to. And then this holds that, and this goes in the pocket. It's a pretty tight pocket, but it works. And then I just put this down there for decoration. On this side, you get the postcards and you get them together. So instead of cutting them apart, I scored it in the middle, and then I scored it a 1/4 of an inch up and a 1/4 of an inch down, and then you flip these down. You can journal here and journal here. That's that packing paper again, and I sewed around it. I sewed it together because it does have the where you can rip it apart. And then I inked it up with some blue ink. And then the tabs, these tickets I used to hold down my little postcards. Just a little bling right there. Have another charm right here, and this can come off. Picture of that little squirrel. This is a tuck spot, using that same technique with the sewing pattern paper. I just added some tape, and then on this side is a journaling spot. And in the back pocket, I just used that journaling card for a tuck spot. And then I made one of these. I had a doily, and I used a tutorial from, I think it's Firefly Studios 67. Not positive, but that's what I keep on thinking. She did a tutorial where you take the doilies and you sandwich them between baking paper, and you can make envelopes out of them. Well, I just made journaling cards, and I thought they were really pretty and really cute. And then I just added a cluster to the leftover pieces I literally had on my desk. So it goes in the back pocket, and then here's the back page and the pocket, and then sew those together to make the back pages. And then here just did a cluster, and then this opens up and you can journal inside of it. Really simple. I'm learning that you don't have to be critical about yourself. You don't have to think that everything has to be a certain way. You just, once you get in and you start going at it, you just start creating and just go with it. I mean, it might sound crazy or weird, or oh, maybe I shouldn't do this, or maybe I shouldn't do that. Just do it. Trust me, it works. Oh my goodness. I have been in such a funk lately, and I haven't been able to craft like I want to, and my mind's just hasn't been there. And so I just took it easy with this one. So thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this journal. It was nice to be able just to do whatever I wanted to do and really not be worried about it, and it really turned out better than expected. Remember to just pick, if you're overwhelmed with your supplies and what you have, just pick, you know, I literally have, this is my basket, really my basket. full of stuff. And it's still full of stuff because I didn't use everything. I didn't even use any of those, or, you know. But my stencils are in here. I got papers in here. There's that packing paper. So literally just use what you have in your basket. And pick some items that you want to use. I'm not saying that you can't, if you have an idea and you have a supply and you're like, oh yeah, I want to use that. Or, oh yeah, I need to use this. You can still do that, but you're not overwhelmed with everything. So, anyway, thank you guys for joining me, and hope you guys enjoy it. And if you do, like, share, subscribe, and I will be back with another video. See you when I see ya. Later.